Hello, this is Decoherent, and welcome back to some more Torment Tides of Numenera. So when last we left, we were hanging around the suspiciously gooey world of the Bloom here. We just showed up, we'd had some excitement with the save game, and 2 or 3 days of wailing and gnashing of teeth, but now things are working again. I don't know if my save problem was related to this particular mini-zone, or what, but it doesn't matter, because it's fixed now, and life is good. So we'd poked around here just a little bit. We'd poked at this really nifty trans-dimensional transport that is sadly broken and getting eaten, as you can see here. Well, it looks suspicious. I keep using that word. Everything here is very suspicious, though. This rather dubious fluid. We're not going to poke at that quite yet. We've got scary monster here. So, let's see here. Where do we even start? Geez, I don't know. Let's go with looks suspiciously like a bony monster called Waits for Prey. That's a good name. You'll be fun. A metal construct stands before you, silent and still. Its armor is pitted and ancient, spiked with metal thorns. Instead of arms, the construct has long killing blades, sharpened to a gleaming edge. Oh, he's a scyther. At first, you weren't sure if the thing is still alive, but as you step closer, you can hear faint hisses and whirs from inside its armor. Who are you? The construct stirs, and a voice emanates from somewhere in its depths. It has a hollow, empty sound, as though it speaks from a vast cavern underground. I am a soldier, a predator. My names are as numerous as the wars in which I have fought. But those wars are finished now, and I have left my names behind. Who created you? I do not know, nor have I ever known. They culled all record of themselves from our minds. I only remember those for whom I fought, and there have been many such masters over many long millennia of service. From our minds? For a time, I believe, my siblings and I slept. I do not know for how long. Then, we were awakened by the new masters, the Tabat. We fought for them until they were no more. Hey, that's really cool. You fought for the Tabat? What did you remember about them? Much. They ruled this land as warlords before the building of Saga's Cliffs. They were slaves to an edifice known as the Underspine, yet they were its masters as well. I do not know where they came from, or who they were before they rose to power, for these things happened before they awakened me. I wonder if we're going to get to find the Underspine. I remember this, too. They held single combat as the highest virtue, revealing the quality of one's soul. They believed that we had powerful souls, my siblings and I, for none of them could defeat us alone. They fought on two-legged beasts, brandishing weapons of another age, unearthed from great hoards beneath the ground. That is also where they found me, and my siblings. They awakened us, spoke the proper words, and so we killed in their commands. So what happened to them? The construct's blade arms twitched convulsively. A vast explosion buried the Underspine, and their city, and most of my siblings as well. The remaining Tabat were hunted and slain by those they had ruled and enslaved, and I was left alone, save for a few of my kind. Okay, this does not agree at all with what we've heard so far. This does not agree at all. A vast explosion buried the Underspine? Okay, that may or may not have happened. It seems like, though, when you're talking about the fall of your species, you would mention things like a vast explosion burying your city. So that is highly suspect. And the remaining Tabat were hunted and slain by those they ruled and enslaved. This just doesn't seem to mesh with what I've heard about the Tabat so far. Again, it's plausible that following their defeat with the whole unmoored in time bit, that they were hunted down and slaved. I don't know about that, though. This just doesn't seem to be congruent with what we've heard so far. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So, Waits for Prey, surely you remember some of your names. Some? I remember all my names. Oh, this should be good. Exonarch Series 14, Genshero Mark 10. When I was bodyguard to Vosteth Lo, he called me his barber of flesh and made of me a boogeyman, feared and hated in every nation he conquered. The construct says nothing after that, but the hisses and whirs inside its armor make a great deal of noise for what seems like a long time. Let's not poke it. It doesn't seem to want to speak about its names. So what are you doing here? Waiting. The word is hollow and cold. For those who are strong and feared, for the predators who walk the bloom. They come here, at times, to challenge me. If I prove myself to be a predator above all others, I believe that the bloom tongues will catch my scent. The clicks and hisses from inside the construct's armor suddenly go quiet. I wish to be devoured by the bloom. What? Have you not seen those who have passed through the gullet of the bloom? Every trace of who they were has been stripped from them. They are freed from the trappings of memory and self, reborn. Why do you crave this rebirth? How many years have you lived? Only a few, judging by the firmness of your flesh. In that time, what horrors have you witnessed or perpetuated? Did they slip into your mind in unguarded moments? Perhaps they do. Whatever horrors you have seen, multiply them by 1,000, 100,000, across a vast grinding millennium of wars. Now imagine that you cannot forget, cannot even distract yourself with other memories. Do you know what I remember? Only those things that would make me a better killer. Every severed limb, every gout of heart's blood, every cruel execution before a cheering cloud. All else is lost, for that is how my creators fashioned my brain. That is why I crave rebirth and forgetfulness. Wow. So, I'm going to ask him this in a moment, but I'd say it's pretty clear that no matter what he started as, I don't think anyone anticipated his growth and evolution over a couple millennia. Actually, that's a dickish thing to say. Let's kind of dance around that for a moment. So, why would killing powerful predators make you more appetizing to the bloom? So I believe. The construct is silent for a moment, as if considering. I have observed the patterns of its hunger over many feeding cycles. Feeding cycles? Ugh. Always it is those who prey on others who draw attention of the bloom tongues. I don't want to draw attention of a bloom tongue. The greater the predator, the more powerful the victims, the more the bloom desires them. The construct's voice becomes less hollow, higher pitched, and more grating. And I have killed many, so many. I have torn men and beasts asunder, left their bones and entrails to putrefy as an offering to the bloom tongues, and still, it will not devour me. Why does it wait? I cannot know. I haven't met anyone who's been eaten by the bloom and lived. I haven't met anyone who's been eaten by the bloom. Walk the innards of the city monster long enough, and you will meet them. A series of lights flash in quick succession from one side of the construct's faceplate. Even now, I can taste the transdimensional footfalls of one such man. Really? You might find him in the vast interior spaces beyond the arterial opening there. The construct gestures with one bladed arm to its side. Once he possessed a name that was well known in this place, before it was stolen by another. Now he walks alone, forgotten, and without fear. Ooh, who is this? I really don't want to ask him this because I already understand it. So what are all these bones and armor on the ground? Detritus of beasts and men, it is all that remains of those who sought to best me. So, do you know anything about our pal Drakekin here that you'd like to talk about? He is a predator of sorts, but subtler than most. I have observed him, as one hunter watches another from afar, but I cannot fathom what he truly wants. What he seems is not all that he is. What do you mean that he's not all that he seems? No, the hollow voice is sharper and somehow more dangerous. The words I spoke were exactly what I meant. Sorry, I need to think about this just a little bit. Also, actually, before I forget about it, the transdimensional footfalls. That's really interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread this. What he seems is not all that he is. That is interesting. That's an interesting turn of phrase. So since you seem to cherish combat, why don't you challenge him to a combat? The construct's head turns in Drakekin's direction. Even though the gray-skinned man is not actually visible from here, obscured as he is by the Crashgatna, you sense that the construct's eyes can see him plainly. For a long moment, you hear a series of whirring and humming sounds from inside the construct's head, as if the construct is considering your words. Then, at last, it turns its head back to you. No, not even I would dare? The words are firm with a note of finality. Wow. Wow. That's an interesting thing to hear. Oh, here's a quick way to kill him. Neat. Okay, I don't have any reason to be going back to the labyrinth at the moment. But we'll remember this. I'm not going to challenge him to combat, but maybe he'll easily kill myself. Okay. That was an extremely interesting conversation. Very much so. Okay. So, we've got what? Scotty and Anine? Skatey? Something like that. A pale, heavy-set merchant woman stands by an agitated Anine. Oh, that's its species name. Sorry. Okay. Her eyes seem to have trouble focusing on you, and when they do, she drops them, her hands nervously adjusting the scarf around her neck. I'm Skatey. Are you here to trade? Sure, but what can you tell me about the bloom first? The bloom? For a moment she seems confused, as if she doesn't remember where she is. No. What's to tell? You sure you don't have anything to tell me about the bloom? She pauses, her brow furrowing. I think so. Okay. Yeah, what's up with that scarf you're wearing? Her eyes meet yours, and for a moment you think there's almost a pleading quality to them. Then they blaze with fury. That's none of your business. Leave it be, or just leave. As she speaks, she fiddles with her scarf again, and you notice splotches of blood on it. That's weird. It seems rude to pull at it. Let's, kind of try to glance under that. You've got, something going on there. Who's persuasive? You're pretty persuasive. Oh, it's just funny seeing, like, people's various roles and how bad they are at things. Rin's actually not bad. But we will, of course, go with our smooth-talking pal here. I do? Where? The woman pulls the scarf from her neck to look at it, revealing jagged, still bleeding teeth marks on her throat. She sees you staring at them and realizes she's been duped. Dirty trickster, she snarls as she pulls the scarf tight again. Go try your games on someone else. She glances at her Anine, eyes wide, like a child with a guilty conscience. Just leave us alone, she hisses, waving you away. You realize the marks on her neck match the blunt teeth of a large herbivore, like her Anine. You're not going to talk to me again, are you? Skitey's eyes widen in fear, darting momentarily toward her Anine. I told you to leave me be. I'm not selling you anything. Can I poke at the Anine here? A large and agitated beast looms over you. It is an Anine, a beast of burden. These creatures are normally docile, but this one bares its teeth and snaps at you as you draw near. It rakes the air with its stubby claws. Let's examine it. Don't walk up and touch things. Look, cries Eridus. The beast had blood in its mouth, and its mistress has blood in her neck. That means... His eyes widen. Foul Anine, feeding on your mistress like some feeding thing? Eridus strides forward, rolling up his sleeves and bailing his fists. I'll handle this. Eridus, punching it might not be the best option. Eridus turns, scowling. Punching is always the best option. Unless you can skewer. Skewer's even better. He smiles benevolently. But please, tell me your other exciting options. Let's just look at it first, please? Just a little? To find the best place to punch it? Excellent idea. Examine to your heart's content. God, you're the best, Eridus. Do I touch it? It seems like I might be stupid. See... I really want to let him punch it, but that seems rude. Okay, look, I have pets. I know animals. You're not supposed to walk up and touch them unless invited. I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, this is a terrible idea. I'm going to get bit. As you approach, it snaps its head forward, snarling. Ugh. Okay. You jerk your hand back, and the Anine's jaws snap shut scant inches from your fingertips. So, Skatey, can we talk to you again? Like, what's going on here? Skatey swallows hard as you face her, glancing back and forth between you and the beast. You know, she adjusts her scarf over the teeth marks on her neck. Look, I can help. Just tell me what's happening to you. It's going to use up all your intellect, which is fine. I've got more to spare. I've got a lot more to spare. My Anine, it feeds on me, suckles the blood from my neck. For some reason I can't. No, I don't want to make it stop. She shakes her head, trying to clear it. But that's a lie. I do want it to stop. What? Her voice quavers in terror. I think the bloom did this to my Anine and me. Tied us together somehow. It's in our heads. I can hear it whispering to me. You can fight the bloom, Skady. Concentrate on the whispers and drown them out. Push them from your mind. Really want to help her, so I'm going to roll high on these. Ooh, critical too. You can see the woman struggle. Her whole body shakes. You faintly hear a whispering cacophony of sound, chittering and buzzing, lashing out in rage as she fights back. Then, it falls silent. The merchant's eyes soften in focus. She shakes her head as if clearing it. I did it. The voices are gone. The Anine also shakes its head, snorts, and settles back on its haunches. The merchant turns to you with clearer eyes. Thank you. I don't know what was wrong with me. The bloom got in my head and changed my Anine too. But I think she's back to her old self now. She hesitates, then nods. You can come back anytime you like. I'll give you a discount. It's the least I can do. Well, that was nice of you. That was the easiest way I've ever fixed a person ever. So, now can you tell me anything about the bloom? I travel through here a lot, but maybe not after this. Too dangerous, no matter what the memory of his guards say about her keeping it safe. She shrugs. Good chance for profit, though. Bloom folks need outside goods, and you can find unique things here, things from other places. Still, once bitten, twice shy, if you know what I mean. Ha ha ha. Oh, I get it. I'll be gone as soon as I sell the last of my stock. So, the Memavira, I've heard of her a couple times. What can you tell me about her? She nods her head at the imposing gates across the courtyard. They say she runs this place from that fortress over there. I've never seen her, though, just her thugs. It's almost like she doesn't dare come out. That's interesting. I wonder if she actually exists. So how did the bloom get into your head? I don't know. The bloom does strange things to you if you stay here long enough. My Anine and I drank water from that well. That may have had something to do with it, or maybe not. But I'm not letting her drink it again, that's for sure. So she's doing better now? Shaken, but better. And now that I know that this can happen, I won't risk it happening again. We're getting out of the bloom as soon as I sell my stock, and we're not coming back. Well, maybe I can help you with that. Healing, yes, I'm probably going to buy all those. I've already got something like that. Medium ranged light weapon. You know, I need to find a weapon. 12, that's not nearly as good. Heavy ranged long weapon, that's interesting. Let's see here. Stink charge is slightly better than the crummy thing I have. Short range though, yeah. Battle axe. Shield. Great axe. Cipher. Heal 30 points of health on all allies within range of the target point. Ooh. A thin cooling gel mortars the stacked ceramic discs that make up this device. Turning the topmost disc triggers a glowing field that cures even the most grievous injuries. Oh yeah, we're taking that with us. Still mirror. Oh wow, these are awesome. The brass hoop's surface has incredibly intricate engravings. If twisted, the hoop falls apart and all emotion is swept from the area. Still mirrors had a proud history. Once they were used to maintain order, but the few that remain today are carefully guarded and used for darker purposes. Wow, these are neat. Clockwork strut, 30% evasion, quick fingers, -2 armor. This array of oiled clockwork slats bonds with the user's limb, accelerating their movements but leaving their overstressed muscles far more prone to injury. I might pick that up for Tiber. Talisman of the Gentle Hierophant. +1 in all non-combat... Oh, okay. Glyphs of unknown planets circling a binary star are inscribed on this talisman. This disc melds with the user's chest, filling them with determination and sickening thoughts of violence. That's interesting. So, I can actually use 2 of these, right? Can I only use 1? Here, let's go back and let's take a look at this real quick here. Because I have 1 concentration. Okay, so the second one would cause a negative effect. What do I have in here? Just perception. That's actually not super great, but okay. And does anyone else have concentration? They do not. That's right, because you're eating the -1 int, and that's fine. Polished rock. Yeah. Do you have concentration? Can you wear more than 1 thing? You do not. Okay. And Tiber, I'm positive, does not. So anything he wears, he's going to eat the negative consequence for. Okay. So what do I want to do? Do I want to give Eridus the evasion? That'll make him really hard to hit. And he's already... Well, he's already got maxed out quick fingers. This is actually kind of a stupid artifact for him. Oh, except the +3 damage. Well, yeah. And I would need something that's better than perception, because honestly, perception's not super great, because I already have... Let's see here, I have the artificial eye that already gives me +1. So I guess I don't remember. Oh, here, let's check. Okay, so I don't have any points in it. 1 is from the eye and 1 is from the artifact. Okay, well, let's see here. So this heal would be super neat. I don't have a lot of money though, I just realized that. So would that be really neat. 30% evasion is a lot. That's huge. He would lose endurance and armor. But still. Wow, that's... Oh, I don't have that much money, so it doesn't matter. Okay, well, in that case, let's not worry about it. I need to get some better weapons. These sting charges suck. I guess I'm not really using it for anything, but... It'd be nice if I could get Rin something better, but she can't really use anything that's not a light weapon. Maybe the range medium, even with the crummy damage. Well, I don't know. Okay, we'll think about these things. I'm not leaping directly into battle. Let's poke at this thing. I like poking at things. Praise the Great Devourer? That's bizarre. A metal pylon, so polished it might be crystal, has been thrust into the bloom flesh at the junction of 2 armored neural axons. Whether the bulbous protrusion around it is an effect of this invasion, or whether it was the reason for the insertion in the first place, it's impossible to judge. Like so much of the bloom, it oozes both mystery and mucus. Let's take a closer look at this pylon. The pylon appears to be the foundation of a dimensional anchor, but just the foundation. To be sure, it is in some ways the most difficult part to construct, but it is worthless without a variety of additional, properly tuned Numenera. To finish the project would be a considerable undertaking, far more than you could hope to attempt. What is a dimensional anchor? You notice there's a deep solstice in the bloom flesh where it meets the pylon. The talc filling the crevice makes it impossible to tell what, if anything, is inside. Okay, let's take a look at this nodule and the neural sheaths running outward from it. Judging from the ancillary organs that protrude from the nodule, it seems to be the organic equivalent of a regional control center, not a true brain, but something more than a mere cluster of nerves. It's unclear whether or not it is part of some larger mind or a near-sentient organism of its own. Do I poke at the goo? Can I make someone else poke at the goo? Sure. Your forearm deep in the warm, mucousy talc when your fingers brush against something with a hard edge. Obviously not part of the bloom flesh, but also distinct from the pylon. Unfortunately, your touch has dislodged it, and it begins sinking deeper into the crevice. Tiber, old buddy, can you grab this thing for me? You're the best. You plunge in deeper and catch hold of the metal object. With relief, you pull your arm and the recovered cipher out from the mucosi sulfus. What are you? Sunspot icon. Opens a channel to the nearest celestial body. Oh, that's not good. Fires a blast that deals 28 Wow. This metal object is small. This metal object is small enough to rest easily in your hand. It's a small depiction of a monolith, engraved with peculiar glyphs that do not mean anything to you. If you slam or throw the tapering end into the ground, The object spreads metallic root-like vines through the ground, and once embedded, it activates. When the icon is active, it acts as a conduit for energy tapped from the nearest celestial body, emanating a blazing power that scorches and blinds any unfortunate who draws too close. That's super cool. So ended up with that. That's a whole pile of damage. I like that quite a bit. Neat. Okay. What are there other options here? Got Bloom Dwellers. Yeah. Let's see here. Just looking for other named parties that we haven't spoken to yet. Or if I should poke at these merchants. Oh, you have a name. Can I poke at the slaves? I'm just curious. Hello? Okay, did I talk to the person or not? I don't think so. Parson Flint. The fat little man turns toward you, a wide smile already on his face. Indeed, his smile is unnaturally wide, reaching almost to his ears. You notice that his mouth contains 2 rows of white, well-manicured teeth. You catch me in the midst of an auction, sir, but no need to beg pardon. My clients will wait. He leans forward conspiratorially. I find a short delay in the proceeding gets them talking amongst themselves and sparks their competitive nature. Good for prices. The smile gets even wider, if that's possible. Parson Flint is my name, and the disbursement of so-called slaves to the so-called owners, for the betterment of both parties, is my trade. Hello, Flint. Still dealing in human misery, I see. Just stand here quietly. Why, if it isn't old Tiber, and another school of fish on the hook, eh? Watch out for this one, friends. He couldn't play it straight on a tightrope. That's nice, coming from a swindler like you. He winks at you. Never mind that school of fish line, lad. We're only pulling each other's legs. Don't worry, man, like, I trust you. Not quite unconditionally, but I trust you. Are we? Doesn't matter. Any friend of Tiber's is a welcome customer of mine. He raises his eyebrows expectantly. So, what sort of slave are you looking for? Why would I want a slave exactly? Flint blinks in surprise, but his smile doesn't falter. Well, to feed maws, of course. Unless you're planning to let them feed on you, but I wouldn't advise that. The little man shudders dramatically to emphasize his point. Naturally, it helps to know what a maw wants before you go buying a slave. Not much point in buying a slave who isn't appetizing to the maw of question. Then he adds in a whisper, You'd be surprised how many people make that mistake. Flint gives you a knowing wink, as if to emphasize the silliness of those people. Rin tugs urgently at your garment, and you glance down at her. You have to buy one. Buy all of them if you can. Flint notices the little girl for the first time. Ah, what a darling child you have there, and smart too. Are you looking forward to feeding your slaves to a maw, my dear? Not for a maw, Rin whispers, ignoring the little man. We have to set them free. Okay, I am a little unclear on what the hell is going on here. Maybe you'd better explain to me how slavery works around here. Certainly. These slaves, he nods at the bedraggled men and women in the pit, are convicts of the foulest sort. They are the very dregs of Sagas Cliffs and her surrounding communities. In order to pay their debts to society, many choose bloom slavery instead of prison or execution. These individuals are given to me, and I sell them to the enterprising merchants who ply the bloom. Usually, my clients come to me with specific requirements. Every maw has its own unique taste, you see, and it won't open unless it gets precisely what it wants. So, I offer an appropriate slave, and they feed that slave to the maw, and everyone is happy. Flint grins, both rows of teeth shining whitely from inside of his enormous mouth. Everyone's happy, huh? So, what the hell are these maws anyway? Maws are the mouths of the bloom, my friend. Sometimes they lead to other worlds, or to hidden pockets elsewhere in the bloom. One never knows, but that's part of the fun, you see. So these slaves volunteer to be eaten? Flint blinks, apparently taken aback. They're desperate, and being fed to them bloom is not a death sentence. Well, not always. Sometimes the bloom only devours certain aspects of a person, and they're entirely changed for the better. Or it takes a small, trivial part of them, an eye or half a stomach, or their ability to feel love, and spits them out into another world, where they can start their lives anew. Flint beams the thought of it all. Once a maw feeds on a slave, that slave is free. That's the law, mind you. Unless the Murdens get hold of you. Flint crinkles his nose in disgust. They don't give a bird's turd about such things. So these slaves are all criminals, huh? Oh, of varying sorts, yes. The more vicious the better, at least as far as my clients are concerned. Flint leans towards you, his voice falling to a theatrical whisper. The bloom has a taste for the criminal element. Dangerous, predatory sorts of people draw its attention, sometimes for the better, and sometimes for the worse. So, how precisely do you know what a maw wants? Ah, but that is the question. Sometimes you can puzzle it out on your own by watching the maw, observing the behavior of its tongues. He wrinkles his nose. A disgusting business altogether. Better to ask someone who's been here for a long time. They're barking mad, most of them, but they have an uncanny sense of the bloom's desires. Some of them claim to hear the voice of the bloom in their minds. Yeah, tried that, wasn't a fan. And hearing the voice of the bloom, Flint whistles and waggles his finger at the head. That's when you know you're in trouble. Okay. Well, let me talk to my partners and we'll get back to you. Wow, so that's pretty nutball, so...
Did you want something?
She looks more pale than usual in this place. So you doing okay? Okay, well, we've already had this conversation, so that's alright. So I understand why she feels pretty strongly about this whole slavery bit. That's interesting, though. Each part of them, I like that, like an eye or their ability to feel love. This thing is really meta. This thing is crazy. Well, obviously before I start buying people, I'm going to finish exploring. Just in case this area had something to do with my save game, I'm going to walk out here. I'm going to make 2 saves. You know, whatever. Be really careful about this. These cut screens are amazing. I love these things. Oh, look, there's notes. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a break here. And when we come back, we will continue on our exciting voyage, let's call it. Our incredible voyage through the disgusting bits and pieces of the bloom. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.